Are you ready to go on safari? We're going to go to the grasslands of the world and meet some of its greats, grassland greats. Let's go. A grassland is just as its name suggests, land covered with grasses. Grasslands are found on every continent except Antarctica. There are two main kinds of grasslands. Tropical grasslands are found in places where the climate is warm all year round. These areas typically have a rainy season and a dry season. Tropical grasslands often have short or coarse grasses and usually have scattered trees and shrubs. Temperate grasslands are found in places that have hot summers, cold winters, and moderate rainfall. Temperate grasslands are flat and treeless, and the grasses found there can be short or tall. Let's look at this map of the world together and find the temperate grasslands and the tropical grasslands. If you notice, the green shaded areas are what they call the temperate grasslands. And the tropical grasslands are the brownish colored ones, which are in South America and in Africa and in parts of Australia, like northern Australia, if you look at there. All the others are temperate grasslands in Asia, in the Middle East, in the central area of North America, and the very southern part of South America, and also in the middle there by the equator on the top area of South America and the area of Yucatan in Mexico and the eastern part of Mexico, south of Texas. There's a little bit of geography for you. Grasslands have different names in different parts of the world. In South America, they are called pampas, which means plains. In Asia and Europe, they are called steppes. Many different animals make their homes on grasslands. Many of the animals are plant eaters that graze on grasses. Some grassland dwellers are meat eaters that hunt the plant-eating animals. Look at the chart to compare Earth's grasslands and the living things that dwell in them. An animal's address and occupation is known as its ecological niche. The ecological niche of these horses is to feed on grasses in the Mongolian steppes. You may pause the video here to compare the grasslands and learn a little bit more detail about the different areas. The vast, dry grasslands of Africa stretch for miles across parts of the continent. Some thorny bushes and trees provide the animals with some welcome shade from the scorching heat. Buffaloes live in the African grasslands. They live together with herds of zebras, antelopes, and giraffes. They share the same home, and they share a similar lifestyle. They are the grazers of the grasslands. What other animals share their home? All day long, the buffaloes munch on grass. They must consume lots of grass to power their huge, bulky bodies. It is mid-morning on the open plains, and it is getting very hot. Soon, the buffaloes will have to move to some shade to escape from the blistering heat. First, the herd set off to search for water. The buffaloes always stay within a day's walk of a river or a waterhole. Today, the buffaloes do not have far to go. They take a long, cool drink, and then they wade up past their bellies in the water. 2/5 of Africa is covered with grasslands. Many of the grasslands have scattered trees and thorny bushes. In the grasslands, closer to deserts, the grasses are shorter and there are fewer trees. Many grassland animals share the same food supply, grass. However, different animals eat different parts of the grasses. Zebras feed on the top of the grass. Antelopes and wildebeest eat the part of the grass plant nearest the ground. The Cape buffalo's ecological niche is to feed on grasses in its African grassland home. It eats grasses that are too tall or coarse for many other kinds of grazing animals. Buffaloes are sometimes nocturnal grazers. The water cools down the buffaloes, but now the animals have another problem: ticks. These small biting parasites suck blood from the mighty beasts. The ticks do not drown in the water and they just keep biting. The buffaloes try to get rid of the ticks by rubbing against trees or rocks, but it is no use. The ticks keep biting. So the buffaloes move to a mud pool. They wallow in the warm, sticky mud. The tick mud suffocates the ticks. At last, the biting has stopped. Mud helps buffaloes cool down and removes dead hair and insects. It also helps protect the buffalo's skin from getting sunburned. Buffaloes rub against trees or rocks to remove ticks trapped in dry mud. Zebras live in large herds in the grasslands of eastern and southern Africa. A zebra herd protects itself by staying together. One zebra watches out for danger while the others feed on the grasses. Zebras also help groom one another. Baboons live in groups in the African grasslands. Grooming is an important group behavior for baboons. It strengthens the hierarchy and bond in the group. It also gets rid of dirt and pesky parasites. It does not take long for more ticks to start biting, and now the buffaloes are nowhere near a mud pool. These huge animals that can harm other big animals are totally defenseless against these tiny blood-sucking creatures. Fortunately, there are some little animals that can help. Oxpeckers. The herd's feathered friends often come to the rescue. Just then, one little oxpecker flies towards a buffalo's head and lands on its huge horns. A group of individuals of the same species living in the same area is known as a population. Different populations make up a community. Oxpeckers, buffaloes, and grasses are part of an African grassland community. Take a close look at those baobab trees. They're very interesting looking. They have a huge tree trunk that widens from the bottom. In the top, instead of looking like regular trees, they look like roots, like they're upside down. I first discovered these trees when I read The Little Prince. Look for it on my playlist. Different populations in the same community interact with one another. They also interact with the non-living elements of the environment, such as climate. Factors such as droughts and disease can control population sizes. A buffalo population is affected by the amount of available grass. Sometimes populations in the grasslands can be wiped out by disasters, such as fires or drought. But many grassland plants can survive fires and even thrive after them. Grasses survive because they grow from their base, which is safely underground, whereas most plants grow from their tips. The baobab tree can survive long droughts because its large trunk stores water. The oxpecker uses its bill to peck through the buffalo's hair to get at the ticks. The little oxpecker works quickly and can consume hundreds of ticks in a day. Then, the little bird disappears right into the buffalo's ear. The buffalo does not seem to mind, even when the oxpecker looks for ticks up its nose. Soon, more feathered friends come to help out. It is a grooming station in the grasslands. Suddenly, the oxpeckers start making loud noises. Sometimes animals of different species form a close relationship. The oxpecker and the buffalo share a symbiotic relationship. The word symbiosis means living together. This kind of symbiotic relationship is called mutualism because both species benefit. In some animal relationships, one species benefits and the other species is harmed. This is known as parasitism. Buffaloes and ticks have this relationship. Ticks get blood from the buffaloes, but the buffaloes are harmed. Some partnerships exist between plants and animals. In Africa, acacia ants and acacia trees have a mutual symbiotic relationship. The ants live on and protect the acacia tree. The ants act like the plant's bodyguards. They bite any visiting insects or grazing animals that try to eat the plant's leaves. In return, the tree provides the ants with sweet nectar to eat and hollow thorns for shelter. The oxpeckers hop quickly along the backs of the buffaloes. They hiss and let out rattling cries, which signal to the herd that danger is nearby. Then they fly away to safety. A hungry lioness creeps past the buffalo herd. Other lionesses hide in the tall grasses. All of a sudden, the lioness chases one of the buffaloes and the other lionesses join in the hunt. But the buffalo puts up a fight. It kicks with all its might and chases the lions away. Some animals hunt together as a team. Lionesses hunt in groups. They prefer to hunt large animals, such as buffaloes and antelopes. They hide in the long grasses and creep close to their prey before they leap out and attack. Buffaloes do not have any predators. Buffaloes are aggressive animals and among the most dangerous in Africa. They use their hooves and horns during an attack. They can kill a predator with a kick from their hooves or a headbutt from their horns. Lions and buffaloes can run at about the same speeds, about 35 miles per hour. Lions usually chase the sick, old, and young, or the young buffaloes of the herd because they are easier to catch. The buffalo soon joins the rest of the herd, which moves far away from the lions. The buffalo goes back to what it likes best, eating grass. Some of the herd lie in the shade. The herd's little feathered friends are now far away too, but they have found another herd in need of their help. It is time for the oxpeckers to get to work on some other grassland grazers. Growing up on grasslands. What is it like for animals to live in different grasslands? Kangaroos. Some kangaroos live in the dry grasslands of Australia. They use their sharp incisor teeth to cut off the tips of tough grasses. Baby kangaroos start to graze when they are about 8 to 9 months old. When two different species have the same role or occupation but live in different addresses or habitats, they are considered to be ecological equivalents. A hoofed grazer in Africa, such as a zebra, is the ecological equivalent of a grass-eating kangaroo in Australia. Look at these animals. Which of them are ecological equivalents? Practice visually to complete that chart on the next page. Remember, nonfiction books like this have a glossary where you can go and look up particular vocabulary words that you may not be familiar with. And they also contain an index for certain topics to be found with their page numbers in the page where you can go find it.